The most polarizing part of March Madness is the upsets. They could bust your bracket, make you cry, ruin your day. Yes, that's happened to me many times. Or they can make you look like an absolute genius and you can win your office pool. Today, I'll be ranking all the possible Cinderellas in the 2024 NCAA Tournament. What I mean by Cinderellas is 10 seed or higher, to give you guys a little insight to help you guys out on which teams you should pick in your bracket. I already made my perfect bracket. Feel free to check it out after you watch this one. Also, join the Saturday Shenanigans ESPN Tournament Challenge Pool. Link in description. You have 3 entries. The winner gets to appear in one of my videos. Yes, it's going to be awesome. If you enjoy this content and want to see more, like, comment, subscribe, share, and let's get into it. Let's get it started. We're going to do this by the likelihood of happening. So no S tier, A tier. It's either happening, which means I have it in my bracket. There's a good chance with some luck, meaning a few things have to fall in place. Highly unlikely, and then impossible, which will be the 16 seeds, but you truly never know in March Madness. Western Kentucky, a 15 seed out of the South region. Nothing special about this team out of the Conference USA. However, they are playing the weakest 2 seed in my opinion, Marquette. No, they're not playing Tennessee. No, they're not playing Iowa State or Arizona. If a 15 over a 2 was going to happen, it would be this one. And just so you know, in the last 3 years, every single time a 15 seed has gone to the Sweet 16. So that means instead of being an impossible, we're going to put this one in highly unlikely. I believe as a 15, Western Kentucky could happen. So if you want to get freaky in your bracket, pick a little 15, get a little silly with it, I would go with WKU. Next is NC State. Now, NC State is super hot right now. They just won the ACC tournament. They went off. They beat UNC, a #1 overall seed. Everyone's going to be picking this. I don't think this is a lock because Texas Tech is one of the deepest teams in the tournament. However, if they win this game, they're going to have to play a great offensive Kentucky team as well in the 6v3 or the 11v3. So I don't think it's 100%. It is a tough road for NC State. A lot of people like them, so I'm going to put them in a good chance. Long Beach State, 15 seed out of the West region. What a great story. They pretty much came out of nowhere to win the conference tournament in the Big West. I would have more faith in them. However, they're playing Arizona. We know Arizona lost last year to a 15. There is no possible way that happens twice. If that does happen twice, Tommy Lloyd needs to get fired ASAP. So we're going to put that impossible. I would love to see it though. I'm not going to lie. Nevada, they're playing Dayton. They're a 10 seed. However, in the second round matchup, they're going to run into Arizona. So I don't see them getting much farther than the round of 32. I think it's almost a lock that they win their first game. So because of that, I'm going to put them in highly unlikely. However, this is not the same Nevada team from a few years ago with the Martin twins where they made a run. They're going to run into Arizona. Arizona is going to be too good for them all around. They're going to lose. They are a lock, though, to win their first game. Drake, a 10 seed out of the East region in the Missouri Valley. They're playing Washington State, a 7. That's pretty much a 50-50 game. However, this Drake team is amazing. They had to beat Indiana State to get here. I really like them. And if they win against Washington State, don't be surprised if it's close versus Iowa State. And if they win that, they will go on to face either Illinois or BYU, in my opinion. I think with some luck, this could be a sneaky team. We're going to put them in the middle. 14-seeded Colgate. They won the Patriot League. They're out of the West region. They're playing the 3rd-seeded Baylor. The reason why they are a candidate for a possible upset is the amount of threes that they take. They play very fast. They could get to a team's head like Baylor. I don't think it's very likely, though, but there is always a chance. We're going to put them in the highly unlikely category. The team that owns March, it's the Oregon Ducks. They went into the Pac-12 tournament without a guarantee they were going to make March Madness. In fact, they weren't going to if they didn't win. They had to get the automatic qualifier. They somehow did it. This team just knows how to win down the stretch. We saw them in 2019 win the Pac-12 tournament in the same scenario, and then they ended up going to the Sweet 16. They're playing South Carolina in the Midwest region, a 6 versus 11 matchup, and South Carolina has concerned me at multiple times this season. Oregon's so hot. Coach Dana Altman knows how to coach in March. This one is happening. Now, this one is happening. In pretty much all my brackets, I know Oregon's at least going to the Sweet 16. Lock that in. Lock that in. First game against South Carolina. 11/6. Let's go. Charleston out of the West region. 13, playing a 4-seeded Alabama. This Charleston team loves to run. They're playing against an Alabama team that loves to run as well. It's going to be a shootout. And then in the next game, they would possibly face a slower St. Mary's tempo or a Grand Canyon. I just like where they are in the bracket. With some luck, yes, I don't have them beating Alabama 100%. I have it kind of 50-50 in my brackets, but this Charleston team would not be a bad 13 over 4 if you're going to go with that. I'm putting GCU, a 12 seed, in the same category as Charleston because they love to go fast. This team has over 30 wins on the year. They pretty much dominated in the WAC all season. They're built for March. They have great guard play. However, they're playing St. Mary's. That does concern me because St. Mary's is going to slow them down. That's the only reason why I'm keeping them with some luck because they're going to have to win that game. St. Mary's is super disciplined. I think this is St. Mary's year. However, great pick if you want to go for a 12 over 5 right here. Now we're getting into the 16 seeds. Howard, I would love to see some chaos, but no, you're not beating UNC. Grambling will be playing in the first 4 against Montana State to decide who's going to lose to Purdue. Unfortunately, Purdue is going to win against a 16 this year. That was crazy. They're not going to lose twice, but I don't think Grambling's even going to beat Montana State. I like Montana State in that game. Grambling, you are going to impossible. 14-seeded Oakland playing Kentucky. No chance. This is a 3 versus 14. That is not happening. Kentucky just has too much offensive firepower. They are going to run into a juggernaut. No way. Not on any one of my brackets. Not even on my crazy Cinderella upset bracket. I pick Oakland over Kentucky. Hopefully this is not a cold take that you guys look back on and laugh, but I don't think so. Bro, why is Western Kentucky in here twice? Come on. I was sleeping. I was sleeping, guys. 16-seeded Wagner, who will be playing Howard. Womp womp. Impossible. Stetson, you're playing UConn. That would be the craziest upset in sports history. That would be a lot like the Virginia one from 2018 or 2017. Yeah, it was 2018, but you're going impossible. New Mexico is going to the Elite Eight. They have the guard play. They're really deep. They got House, Mashburn, Dent. I love them. They have Coach Richard Pitino. I mean, it's a Pitino. They know how to win in March. They are red hot. They just won the Mountain West tournament. Without winning that, they probably would have been on the outside looking in. They play Clemson. Clemson has struggled down the stretch. I really was in on Clemson earlier in the season, not anymore. Plus, they're going to play Baylor the second game. I think that is a good 3 seed to play, unless Baylor gets upset, which we talked about earlier. But this one is another lock upset pick for me. We're going to put New Mexico in the It's Happening tab. The UAB Blazers, 12 seed out of the East. Are they going to do that famous 12-5? Probably versus San Diego State. However, in the second game, they're running into Auburn. I am very in on Auburn. So I'm going to put them above impossible. However, they're not going to make a deep run. Auburn's going to be there. Even if they beat Auburn, they have UConn. Very, very tough bracket. I mean, it makes sense. East is supposed to be the toughest bracket. UAB and highly unlikely. Great story, however. Going to the American, winning. If they didn't win, they wouldn't have been in the tournament. Another one of those red hot teams. I just like them winning the first game, and that's about it. Yale. I love Yale because Ken Carson made a song after you. However, if this was Princeton who won the Ivy League, I would say highly likely with some luck, but it's Yale. No, absolute fraud. No offense to Yale, but impossible because they're playing Auburn. Again, I'm high on Auburn. No way Auburn's going down in the first round. We're going to have to put Yale down here. Morehead State, 14 seed in the East. I forgot to mention Yale was a 13, but I don't see either of the 13 and 14 seeds winning in this region. I'm thinking a lot of chalk. Putting them here. JMU, high ceiling, low floor. They're either losing their first game versus Wisconsin, which I very much see, but if they win that, they're going to play a Duke team, and this is not the Duke team that we know in the past few years, or they'll also play a Vermont. I could very well see them going to the Sweet 16 before they end up running into Houston, but this is a team that could get everyone problems, so I'm in between these two. There's a good chance, or with some luck. Let's just say, let's go. Let's get freaky. Good chance. JMU, I really like them. McNeese is in the same scenario. They're a 12 seed playing a 5 Gonzaga in the Midwest. I really like Gonzaga and what they have this year. They're not as talented as the previous years, but it's Coach Mark Few. He wins in March. But if they win this game, they are going to get a weakened Kansas team. And that's very well for them to get to the Sweet 16, possibly even get past Purdue. Yes, I am serious. So I'm going to say with some luck. However, I'm not going to put them at the same level as James Madison because I do think that matchup versus Gonzaga is going to be tougher than the Wisconsin one. So I'm going to put them right here. But McNeese, I know a lot of people are picking them because analytically, on paper, on the court, this team is raw, and unfortunately, they got a bad draw with Gonzaga. If they were playing anyone but Gonzaga, I'm taking McNeese all day. However, I can't bet against the Zags in March. You just can't do it, especially this year when people are sleeping on Gonzaga. Typically, they're a top seed. I feel like the year where everyone sleeps on Gonzaga is going to be the one where they pop out of nowhere. They pop on your face. No homo. That was weird. But with some luck, yes, we're going to have McNeese. Montana State. What are we talking about here, bro? What are we talking about? Duquesne as an 11 seed out of the East playing BYU. BYU is great analytically. They have great wins. I just love what they're doing. This is a year bound for BYU. I don't get why people are picking Duquesne. I mean, they won the A10 out of nowhere. This was not a great team going into the A10 tournament. I mean, you had teams like Dayton. You had teams like VCU. There's one more I'm forgetting off the top of my head right now that were really good out of that conference, and somehow Duquesne won it. No. They're a flash in the pan. Come on. I keep seeing people pick Duquesne, and I'm like, if that really happens, like, what did I miss out on, bro? What did I miss out on? It's happening. Longwood is... No, I'm just playing. What are we talking about here, man? Longwood 16 again. All the 16s down here. I don't have the balls enough to put them in highly unlikely. They're not at that same level as Western Kentucky. So we're going to have to keep them there. St. Peter's, we've seen them do this before. Everyone loves them. America's team, they're a 15 playing a 2-seeded Tennessee in the Midwest region. But come on now. Come on now. They're playing against Tennessee in that electric offense. But just because it's St. Peter's and there's a lot of teams in the impossible category, we're going to say highly unlikely. Maybe St. Peter's shocks the world again, but I think Tennessee's a really good 2-seed. I think Arizona's a great 2-seed. Iowa State, I really like the 2 seeds. Besides Marquette, I'm a little iffy on them. We know the Big East. The Big East is very controversial. I think they're down this year. I mean, obviously, they only got 3 teams in. People thought they should have got more, but we're going to go St. Peter's in the highly unlikely category. Colorado. I'm in between. There's a good chance, and it's happening. Because first 4 teams, there's always going to be a first 4 team that moves on. I believe they're beating Boise State. Boise State's a glass cannon. If they do that, they're playing Florida. Although I picked Florida in my bracket because I like their upside, Colorado is analytically favored over them. So if you want to go with the smart pick, a 10 seed over a 7, boom, go with Colorado. And also, they're going to run into Marquette. The easier 2 in the bracket, they could win that and possibly get to the Sweet 16, where they'll be playing Kentucky. Possibly. So I like Colorado. I know I didn't pick them in my bracket, but I'm looking out for you guys. If you guys want to make those smart picks, win your office pool, win the money, whatever you want to do. But no, it's not happening though. But I can see that. It's very funny how they are analytically favored over Florida. That's the first time where we've seen that big of a team have that big of a margin, like a 10 over a 7. And again, you got to go with the first 4 team. There's always a first 4 team that does super well. It's either this one or the teams that we're going to talk about in a second. Virginia, another 10 seed. First 4 team out of the Midwest region. They are playing Colorado State. Now, the thing about Virginia, they're really boring. They play 1950s basketball like your grandpa. They play super slow, a lot of defense. It is not fun to watch. However, I think that could be disruptive for teams. If they beat Colorado State and they're playing Texas, they could just slow them down. They like to slow you. They like to choke you, pause, and they're very good in marks. They're very hit or miss in marks. They're very good. However, they're going to run into Tennessee if they do win that in the second round, and I don't really see them going anywhere past the round of 32. So I can't put them as high as Colorado, but I'll say with some luck. I know people are going to pick Virginia because of the name. They won the national championship a few years back, but they're in the middle. 14, Akron, also out of the Midwest versus Creighton. I'm very on the fence with this. If we're going for a 3 seed losing, best opportunity with Creighton. Again, it seems like I'm a Big East hater. I'm just not very high on the Big East. However, we're going to put this in highly unlikely. I would not feel safe picking this 14 over 3. Very ballsy. Oh, Vermont. Yes. Vermont, with some luck. They're playing Duke. This is not the Duke team that we typically know. And if they win that again, they might face JMU. This might be like 2019 where we have a 12 versus 13 in the round of 32 with Oregon and UC Irvine. It could be Vermont versus JMU, and that gives them a great chance to make the Sweet 16 as a Cinderella. Vermont is always a powerhouse in their conference. They win every year. We've seen them put up some great fights in the NCAA tournament. They know how to win in March with some luck. Yes, very solid. Boise State's a glass cannon out of the Mountain West. They're not particularly special at anything. They do have some veteran leadership, but because of that, I just don't see them getting past Colorado in the first place. The Mountain West teams are very hit or miss. As you can see with New Mexico, they're either going to do amazing or they're just going to fall off. I don't see them getting past the first 4 at all. That's crazy, but even if they do, they are losing. They're losing to Florida. Nope. 10 seed out of the South region. No. Colorado State. I want to put them in the same thing as Virginia. I just have a feeling about that 10-7. I do. This one's hard. They owe me back because in 2022, or no, 2021, my freshman year, I picked them to go to the Elite Eight when they were a 6 seed, I believe, or a 5 seed, and they lost. And they lost first round. They completely screwed my bracket. So because of that, I'm going to say with some luck, yes. I feel like they're going to get my get back. I like Virginia or Colorado State, the winner of that game, to go up against Texas. Horns down, boom. And I know people are going to get mad at that because there's so many Texas fans. There's like a bajillion Texas fans out there. Be like, ah, but horns down, baby. South Dakota State, 15 seed, playing Iowa State in the East region. Just not happening. I love the Jackrabbits. I love South Dakota State. I love North Dakota State. I love that area. I love those schools, but unfortunately, in my wildest dreams, it could happen. I'm not ballsy enough, guys. Imagine if I was in my main bracket to just go out of pocket and pick South Dakota State because I feel like it. But stuff like that always happens, and that's why the person with the most balls ends up winning the bracket. 13 seed Samford out of the Midwest playing Kansas, a hobbled Kansas team. This team plays fast. They like to shoot. They're your prototypical upset candidate. Oh, I'm in between these two. This is a very good team. I'm still leaning towards Kansas, however, because everyone's so in on this team. I've seen this team going to the Elite Eight in a lot of brackets, Sweet 16, possibly getting past Purdue because they like that side of the bracket. However, I'm going to say, this is so hard. It's the last one, too. There's a good chance, man. If they beat Kansas, they somehow face Gonzaga. They're feeling a little frisky. Or maybe they don't face Gonzaga. It's them versus McNeese. And another one of those crazy 12-13 matchups I talked about. We're going to have Samford. I don't know why Washington State's on here. I have no clue. I love Pullman. I visited there this fall. It was absolutely fire. I had a great weekend. Anyways, Washington State, you're on there. Western Kentucky, you're on there twice. So just because of that. This is the final list, though, guys. Screenshot it. Do whatever you want. Send it to your friends. Save it for later, if you know what I'm saying. Save it for later, if you know what I mean. Well, Western Kentucky's going on here twice, and second time's the charm, so we're going to put Western Kentucky at the top. But thank you guys so much for tuning into the video. Like, comment, subscribe if you want to see more of this content. Share with your friends. Let me know what you guys want to see next in the comments, and I'll see you guys soon.